Once upon a quiet morning, there lived a young person who wanted to improve their life, but felt confused, slow, and unsure about where to begin, especially when it came to learning English and speaking with confidence. Every day, this person listened to people speaking fluently, watched videos online, and quietly wished that one day they could also understand English clearly and express their thoughts without fear or hesitation. They were not lazy, they were not weak, they were simply overwhelmed, because learning something new often feels difficult when the path is not clear and the mind is full of doubt. Many times they started learning with excitement, but after a few days the motivation slowly disappeared and the old fear of failure returned again. This person believed that English was only for intelligent people, fast learners, or those who had studied in English schools, and this belief quietly stopped them from trying again. But deep inside, there was a small voice that said, if others can learn, maybe I can learn too, step by step, slowly, in my own way. One evening, while sitting alone and thinking about life, work, confidence, and future dreams, this person made a simple decision that changed everything. They decided not to chase perfection anymore and instead focus on small daily progress, even if it felt slow and simple. They realized that learning English was not a race, and there was no need to compare themselves with others who were far ahead. From that day, they promised themselves to listen to English every day, even if it was only for 10 minutes, without stress and without pressure. At first, listening felt strange, uncomfortable, and confusing because many words sounded new and unclear. Sometimes they understood only a few words, sometimes only the feeling of the sentence, but they did not stop. They reminded themselves gently that understanding slowly was still understanding, and progress did not need to be loud or fast. Each day they listened carefully, repeated simple sentences softly, and allowed mistakes to happen without feeling ashamed. Instead of feeling afraid of wrong pronunciation, they began to enjoy the sound of English, the rhythm of sentences, and the calm voice guiding them. They noticed something surprising, which was that the more relaxed they felt, the easier it became to listen and remember. Their minds stopped fighting the language and slowly started accepting it as something friendly, not frightening. After a few weeks, they could understand short sentences clearly, and this small success gave them a new kind of confidence. That confidence was not loud, but it was real, and it made them want to continue. They learned that confidence does not arrive suddenly, but grows quietly when you keep showing up every day. Every morning or night, they created a simple habit, which was to listen, pause, repeat, and listen again. They did not worry about grammar rules, difficult words, or speaking fast like native speakers. Their only goal was to understand a little more than yesterday. Sometimes they listened to the same story again and again, and each time the meaning became clearer. Repetition slowly turned confusion into familiarity and fear into comfort. They realized that the brain learns better when it feels safe, calm, and patient. There were days when they felt tired and thought about skipping practice, but even on those days they listened for just 5 minutes. Those 5 minutes reminded them that consistency was more important than motivation. Slowly, English stopped feeling like a foreign enemy and started feeling like a new friend. They began to notice English words in movies, signs, and conversations, and this made learning feel alive and real. Each understood sentence felt like a small victory, quietly pushing them forward. They learned that learning is not about pressure, but about presence. Being present with the voice, the words, and the meaning made learning natural. Over time, their listening skills improved, and their fear of English slowly disappeared. They started believing that English was not difficult, it was just different, and differences can be learned. This new belief gave them strength. They stopped saying, I cannot, and started saying, I am learning. That small change in thinking created a big change in confidence. They understood that mistakes were not failures, but signs of growth. Every mistake taught them something new. They spoke slowly, listened deeply, and allowed themselves to improve naturally. Day by day, English became clearer, calmer, and more comfortable. The journey was not fast, but it was steady, and steady progress was enough. They finally understood an important truth. which was that learning English was not about becoming perfect, but about becoming confident. Confidence came from practice, not from talent, and practice came from small daily steps. These small steps slowly changed their life. They smiled more, feared less, and believed more. This was only the beginning of their journey. As days passed, the learner slowly noticed that their mind was becoming more open, more patient, and more willing to accept new sounds, new words, and new ideas without fear. They understood that learning English was not about memorizing thousands of words at once, but about understanding meaning little by little. Instead of forcing themselves to speak loudly, they allowed their voice to grow naturally through listening and repetition. Sometimes they whispered sentences softly just to feel comfortable with the sound of English in their mouth. This gentle approach made learning feel safe and enjoyable, not stressful or heavy. They realized that when learning feels safe, the brain opens up and absorbs information more easily. Slow listening became their strongest tool because it allowed them to hear every word clearly and understand the message calmly. They no longer rushed to understand everything at once, and this patience helped them improve faster than before. Each story they listened to felt like a friendly conversation, not a lesson full of rules. They began to understand emotions, tone, and meaning even when they did not know every word. This made them feel proud because understanding without translating every word was a big step forward. They learned that language is not only about words but also about feelings and intention. With time, their confidence grew quietly, without noise, without pressure. They stopped worrying about what others might think and focused only on their own progress. Comparing themselves to others slowly lost its power over them. They accepted that everyone learns at a different speed, and that was completely okay. This acceptance brought peace to their learning journey. They created a simple routine, listening every day at the same time, which helped build discipline without stress. Even on busy days, they made space for English because they knew consistency mattered more than duration. 5 minutes of focused listening was better than 1 hour of distracted learning. They learned to enjoy silence between sentences because pauses helped their mind process meaning. Pauses were no longer empty, they were powerful. With each pause, understanding became deeper. The learner noticed that their pronunciation slowly improved just by listening carefully. They did not force their accent to change, but allowed clarity to grow naturally. They understood that accent is not a problem, but unclear speech is. Clear speech comes from calm breathing and relaxed confidence. So they practiced breathing slowly before listening and repeating sentences. This simple habit made their voice sound smoother and stronger. They started enjoying their own voice instead of judging it. This self-acceptance became a powerful part of their growth. English stopped being a source of fear and became a tool for expression. They imagined future conversations where they could speak calmly and confidently. This imagination motivated them to continue every day. They understood that learning is not linear, and some days would feel slow. On slow days, they reminded themselves that slow progress is still progress. They refused to quit just because improvement was invisible. Because deep learning often happens quietly, week by week, their listening ability became sharper. They could follow longer sentences without getting lost. They smiled when they understood full ideas without effort. These moments of understanding felt rewarding and meaningful. They realized that confidence grows when effort meets patience. No pressure, no rush, no fear, just steady, calm practice. English slowly became a natural part of their daily life. They listened while resting, walking, or sitting quietly. Learning blended into life smoothly. They no longer separated learning from living. Every sentence they heard became a step forward. They felt proud of choosing consistency over perfection. This choice changed their mindset completely. They stopped asking, "When will I be fluent?" and started saying, "I am improving every day." This mindset reduced anxiety and increased motivation. Learning felt lighter, happier, and more hopeful. They began trusting the process. Trust brought calmness. Calmness improved focus. Focus improved understanding, Everything worked together naturally. They realized that English learning was also self-growth. Patience learned here helped them in other areas of life. Confidence from learning English improved their overall personality. They felt stronger from inside. Their fear of speaking slowly disappeared. They understood that slow speech is clear speech. Clear speech creates connection. Connection builds confidence. Confidence encourages communication. Everything began with listening. They respected their own pace. They trusted their journey. They celebrated small wins quietly. Even understanding one sentence made them smile. These smiles kept them moving forward. They stopped fearing mistakes completely. Mistakes became teachers, not enemies. They learned through experience, not pressure. This made learning long-lasting. They felt proud of not giving up. They felt proud of starting again. They felt proud of choosing patience. English slowly became familiar. Familiarity created comfort. Comfort created confidence. Confidence created growth. Growth created belief. Belief created consistency. Consistency created success. And success felt peaceful, not stressful. They learned that true success feels calm. They stopped chasing fast results. They embraced slow improvement. Their journey became enjoyable. They felt grateful for every listening session. Gratitude strengthened their motivation. Motivation became internal. Internal motivation lasts longer. This understanding made them unstoppable. They were no longer afraid of English. They were no longer afraid of learning. They were no longer afraid of mistakes. They were only focused on growth. Growth felt natural now. English felt approachable. Learning felt possible. Confidence felt real. Progress felt meaningful. The journey felt worth it. They understood that every small step mattered. They promised themselves to continue, not for perfection, but for confidence, but for clarity, but for self-belief. This was not the end. This was only the foundation, a strong, calm foundation, built with patience, listening, and consistency. And this foundation prepared them for the next powerful stage of their journey. After building a strong foundation, the learners slowly entered a new phase where understanding became deeper and listening felt more natural. They noticed that sentences no longer felt heavy because their mind had learned how to stay calm and focused. Instead of translating every word, they started understanding meaning as a whole. This shift made English feel smoother and more connected. They felt less tired while listening, even for longer periods. Their brain stopped fighting the language and started flowing with it. This flow created a sense of comfort that they had never felt before. They realized that comfort is one of the most important parts of learning. When the mind is comfortable, learning becomes faster and deeper. They no longer force themselves to sound perfect. Instead, they focused on sounding clear and natural. Clarity became their new goal. They practiced listening to long sentences without fear. At first, they missed some words, but they did not stop listening. They trusted that understanding would come with time, and slowly it did. They began recognizing common patterns in English. These patterns helped them predict meaning even before a sentence ended. This skill made listening feel easier and more enjoyable. They felt proud when they could follow stories without losing focus. Stories became their favorite learning tool. Stories felt human, emotional, and real. Through stories, they learned how English is used in daily life. They understood how people express feelings, ideas, and thoughts naturally. This made English feel alive. They noticed that repetition helped their memory strongly. Hearing similar sentences again and again made words stick naturally. They did not memorize lists but remembered words through context. Context made learning meaningful. Meaningful learning stayed longer in the mind. They stopped feeling nervous when hearing new words. Instead, they stayed curious. Curiosity replaced fear. Fear no longer controlled their learning. They accepted that not understanding everything is normal. This acceptance made learning peaceful. Peace allowed deeper focus. Focus improved comprehension. Everything continued to build naturally. They started repeating sentences softly after listening. This repetition helped improve pronunciation without pressure. They listened first, then repeated calmly. No rushing, no forcing, just gentle practice. Their mouth slowly learned new sounds, their tongue became more flexible, their voice became steadier. They stopped feeling embarrassed about their accent. They understood that accent shows identity, not weakness. Clear communication mattered more than sounding native. This realization boosted their confidence. They began speaking small sentences during daily activities. They spoke while cooking, walking, or relaxing. English slowly entered their daily routine. Speaking felt less scary with time. They stopped waiting for the perfect moment to speak. They spoke when they felt ready, even if it was not perfect. This courage helped them grow faster. They noticed improvement in their listening speed. They could understand normal speech more easily. They did not panic when speech was fast. They stayed calm and focused on keywords. Keywords guided understanding. Understanding felt lighter now. They began trusting themselves more. Self-trust replaced self-doubt. Doubt slowly faded away. They felt proud of their effort. Effort became a habit. Habit became consistency. Consistency became confidence. Confidence became natural. They no longer felt pressure to impress others. They focused only on being understood. Being understood felt powerful. They realized communication is about connection, not perfection. Connection made conversations meaningful. They enjoyed listening to others more deeply. Listening improved their speaking naturally. They learned how pauses create clarity. Pauses made sentences stronger. They started using pauses while speaking. These pauses made their speech calm and confident. They felt in control of their voice. Control reduced nervousness. Reduced nervousness increased confidence. Confidence encouraged more practice. Practice strengthened skill. Skill created progress. Progress felt satisfying. They stopped measuring success by speed. They measured success by understanding. Understanding brought joy. Joy kept them consistent. They felt excited to continue learning. Learning became a positive habit, a habit that supported their growth. They realized that language learning is a long journey, and they were finally enjoying the journey. They no longer searched for shortcuts. They trusted steady progress. They accepted challenges calmly. Challenges became opportunities. Opportunities strengthened learning. They learned to stay patient during confusion. Confusion no longer caused frustration. They stayed calm and continued listening. Calm listening improved understanding. Understanding improved confidence. Confidence improved speaking. Speaking improved connection. Connection improved motivation. Motivation kept them moving forward. They felt proud of how far they had come, but they stayed humble. They knew learning never truly ends. They welcomed continuous improvement. Improvement became a lifestyle. English became a tool, not a barrier. They used English to express ideas slowly. Expression felt freeing. They began forming longer sentences confidently. Long sentences no longer felt difficult. Their mind learned how to organize thoughts. Organization improved clarity. Clarity improved communication. Communication improved self-belief. Self-belief improved courage. Courage helped them speak more often. They felt less afraid of conversations. They welcomed interaction. Interaction improved fluency slowly. Fluency felt closer than ever. But they did not rush. They stayed patient. Patience protected confidence. Confidence protected motivation. Motivation protected consistency. Consistency protected progress. Progress protected belief. Belief protected the journey. They felt ready for deeper learning. Their foundation was strong now. Listening, patience, and consistency supported them. They trusted their ability. They trusted their voice. They trusted their process. Fear no longer controlled them. Confidence quietly replaced fear. They smiled more while learning. Smiling relaxed their mind. A relaxed mind learned faster. They felt balanced. They felt ready. ready for new challenges, ready for deeper understanding, ready for longer conversations, ready for growth. They understood that real learning takes time, and they were finally okay with that. They felt calm about the future. They felt confident in the present. They felt proud of their effort. This was progress, real progress, built slowly, built honestly, built with patience and belief. And now they were ready to move into the final stage of their journey. They stepped forward without rushing. Slow steps felt safer now, safer than fear, safer than doubt. They trusted the process. Trust made learning lighter, lighter than before. English no longer felt heavy, it felt natural, almost familiar. They noticed small changes. Words stayed longer in their mind. Sentences made sense faster. Listening felt easy. Understanding felt smooth. There was no panic, no pressure, only calm focus. They listened carefully and patiently. Each pause helped them think. Each pause helped them feel. They stopped translating every word. They started understanding ideas. Ideas felt clearer now, clearer than grammar rules, clearer than memorized lists. Meaning came first, language followed naturally. This felt right. This felt real. They repeated sentences softly, not loudly, not forcefully, just naturally. Repetition built confidence. Confidence built clarity. Clarity built courage. Courage replaced hesitation. Hesitation slowly disappeared. They made mistakes, but they did not stop. Mistakes felt normal now, even helpful. Every mistake taught something new. They listened again and again, each time with better understanding, each time with more confidence. They noticed improvement, not suddenly, but steadily, day by day, sentence by sentence. English felt less scary, more friendly, more approachable. They smiled while listening. They smiled while learning. Learning felt peaceful. Peace made progress stronger. They stopped comparing themselves. Everyone had a different pace. Their pace was enough. Enough to grow, enough to improve, enough to continue. They stayed consistent, even on tired days, even on busy days. Small effort still mattered. Consistency mattered more. They trusted daily listening. They trusted simple stories. Stories made learning human, not mechanical, not stressful, just natural learning. They felt prepared, prepared to move forward, prepared to learn more, prepared to grow confidently. This was the next phase, not the end, just another step. They reminded themselves to stay patient. Patience protected their progress. Patience protected their progress. Slow learning stayed longer. They accepted this truth fully. Acceptance brought peace. Peace allowed focus. Focus improved understanding. Understanding built confidence. Confidence felt natural now, not forced, not fake, just real. They listened with intention. Not just hearing sounds, but understanding meaning. Meaning stayed in the mind longer than before. They remembered phrases easily. They remembered feelings too. Learning connected with emotion. Emotion strengthened memory. Memory supported growth. Growth felt steady, never rushed, never forced. They practiced listening daily, even for a few minutes. Few minutes mattered. Daily effort mattered more. They trusted small habits. Small habits created big change. Change happened quietly, without pressure, without fear. They noticed smoother understanding, fewer pauses for confusion, more pauses for thinking. Thinking felt comfortable. Comfort brought clarity. Clarity built fluency. Fluency felt closer now, not perfect, but improving. They felt proud of consistency, proud of effort, proud of discipline. They no longer feared English. They respected the process. Process mattered more than speed. They learned to trust time. Time worked quietly, day after day. Progress became visible, not loudly but clearly. They understood conversations better. They responded more naturally. Thinking became smoother. Words came easier. Silence felt okay too. Pauses no longer scared them. Pauses felt powerful. They used pauses wisely, listening deeply, speaking calmly, learning patiently. They felt ready for real conversations, ready for daily English, ready for slow improvement, ready for mistakes, ready for growth. They accepted learning as a journey, not a race, just a path, a simple path, a steady path. They stayed kind to themselves. Kindness kept them moving. They believed in their voice. They trusted their progress, step by step, day by day. They continued learning with confidence, and this was just the beginning. Learning English is not about being perfect. It is about being patient. Even when you feel tired, even when progress feels slow, every small step matters. Every minute you practice matters. Some days you will feel confident. Some days you will feel confused. Both days are part of learning. Do not compare yourself with others. Your journey is your own. When you listen slowly, when you repeat calmly, when you allow yourself to pause, your English improves naturally. Mistakes are not failure. Mistakes are proof that you are learning. Confidence does not come suddenly. It grows quietly, day by day, sentence by sentence. Be kind to yourself. Trust the process. You do not need to rush. You only need to continue. If you listen regularly, if you practice a little every day, your understanding will grow, your confidence will grow, and your voice will grow stronger. This is not the end. This is your beginning. Keep listening, keep learning, and believe in yourself. Thank you.